Deleted session, September 19, 1977. Ralph noted, "We had no questions for Seth in particular, hoping that he would just continue where he had left off that session. Jane felt there was much more to come on Frameworks 1 and 2, etc. They said good evening. Now Ruber has been looking through some old papers, and it became obvious that over a period of time his journals show two main concerns, or rather main interests and goals: his writing and his attempt to get better. Earlier, there was a third concern, a financial one, but he did not come across those journals this evening. The two main concerns then instantly caught his attention. He did not see, however, the difference in his approach to those concerns, and in that difference lies the difference in results. Oftentimes, he was not sure what his next book would be, but overall he never doubted there would be a next book. He did not imagine impediments that might rise to prevent a next book being written, nor did he doubt his ability to write one, or any number of books. At times, he might think of writing in one area or another, but his imagination did not set up barriers. It was always receptive to new ideas, casting about for new experiences, consciously involved in the process of creativity. To Ruber, that is taken for granted, for there he operates extraordinarily well, mixing and merging the realities of Frameworks 1 and 2. The practical results, of course, appear in Framework 1, while the real creativity takes place in Framework 2. Understand that I make these divisions for simplicity's sake, for the realities are merged. In trying to get better, Ruber has taken impediments for granted, not only generally but specifically. In his books, he lives in and with the present. Manuscripts that did not gel are simply forgotten, so he is supported in those terms by a background of success. In his other main concern, getting better, he looks back upon past failures and projects impediments into the future. In other words, his approach to these two main concerns is quite different, one opposite the other. He creates impediments then, as in the other area, he creates success. To a lesser extent, this applies to your own approach also. Creativity is involved. Let us look then at the third area, for at one time you both also to some extent imagined impediments, changed your approach, and found new results. That area is the financial one. That indeed does now seem to come with an almost magical ease. You changed your approaches indirectly, and Ruber was always stronger in a financial regard than you, as far as his beliefs that artistic creations could bring financial rewards. You believed that commercial art could give financial results, but not necessarily good writing or good art. There were other issues that have been mentioned concerning you and the marketplace. But Ruber's creativity straddled poor beliefs finally. He stopped looking for financial impediments. He did not worry about money. Just not worrying about it immediately began to give you some financial gain. For in Framework 2, conditions were reversed, and the imagined impediments were not projected into the future. Finally, in Framework 1, those gains began to show, the evidence, in other words. Then, in Framework 1, you had some success to bank upon. It did not seem particularly practical to stop worrying about money. It could even have appeared quite impractical. Yet Ruber began to feel more and more that you and he would have whatever money was needed for any of your wants or desires. He felt that your needs and desires would be fairly reasonable. That is, he approved of them. He did not think you would suddenly become ostentatious. For example, again, frameworks 1 and 2 merged, and the beneficial results began with a change of ideas and intents in framework 2. Now, let us look at framework 2. Your ideas come and go effortlessly, without impediments, with a sense of ease that is taken for granted. Your freedom to think is so transparent and natural that you are scarcely aware of it. That freedom comes from framework 2, as does the great creativity it makes possible. So in certain terms, everyone exists in framework 2. Many people, however, live out their lives, practically speaking, in framework 1. Ruber's physical condition has been most troublesome to you both, for in that area you have strict impediments and felt a lack of control. Many people, however, experience such difficulty in all areas of their lives, with nothing in their own experience that they can trust to give them evidence for a greater reality or control over their own destinies. Once you ask a question, wondering how those who only believed in the evidence of their senses could try to force that limited reality upon others. And of course they cannot. They can only blind themselves to the greater dimensions of existence. Generally speaking, however, in handling Ruber's condition over the years, until lately, you have concentrated your working efforts in framework 1, while in all other areas, you at least had a good foothold in framework 2. Framework 1 deals with predictable behavior, predictable results, and disliked surprises. In all other areas of your lives, you have prided yourselves on the unpredictability, the creative groundbreaking concepts. You forgot ideas of being practical in terms of framework 1, and as a result, of course, your creativity became highly practical and in the most profound terms. You are both doing very well. This information is meant to accelerate that progress through clear understanding and help you grasp hold of your creativity in this area as well. You can continue, and Ruber's improvement will continue in framework 1. But you can also accelerate even further and grab hold of the threshold in framework 2, which in your turns will let Ruber improve as easily as now your money counts. Saying this, I do not want to make you impatient with Ruber's progress, for he is naturally improving. He can do more than naturally improve. However, if you understand what I am saying and does not confuse the rules of the two frameworks, that is highly important. In framework 2, extranatural help, energy, impetus, and knowledge are naturally available. This should be apparent from the very fact of our stations and from the nature of Ruber's writing. In framework 2, then, the same kind of extraordinary help is available in terms of physical condition. That help is lacked if in framework 1, you constantly imagine impediments or concentrate upon past poor performance or project such performance into the future. In a manner of speaking, then, supernatural help is available, but only when your own beliefs are clear enough so that the help is not blocked. By supernatural, I mean the source from which nature springs. And the framework 2 represents the medium in which the natural and the source of the nature merge in a creative gestalt. That gestalt forms your physical being. Nature, without nature's source, would not last a moment. In Ruber's dream last night, he was dancing. His physical body carries that memory. The actual muscles involved were rehearsing. The dream in Framework 2 is as much a definite plan for a normally working body as any oversaw 7 that did result in the book. The original 7 did come from a dream, from a drama occurring in Framework 2. But there were no negative beliefs to plague it, no habits of erecting impediments. Other dreams of Ruber's health did not materialize because their creativity was blocked by an insistence upon following, in that regard, the most limiting of Framework 1's premises. There is no difference between the idea of a book and the idea of a normally working body. It is simply that in one era, Ruber and you, secondarily, have insisted upon relying upon the conventional levels of existence. Therefore, your confidence was undermined. There is, incidentally, a Framework 3 and a Framework 4. In the terms of our discussion, but all such labels are, again, only for the sake of explanation. The realities are merged. A brief point, Rob noted with some humor. Say said, when you moved here, you wanted to make a fashion statement as per your television commercials, where the gentleman only cut hair. You are more knowledgeable now, but at the time, Ruber did restrict his abilities, pull in his horns, and to some extent with your implied consent. Those in the neighborhood would know you were not to be bothered. You did not go out to parties. You were, generally speaking, to be left alone. The move, however, served to highlight some of those beliefs, so that Ruber could see that he could not afford to carry the process any further. Frank represents your belief that you must hold on to someone at least medically oriented, if unconventionally so. In Framework 1, a needed crunch, and he has been of some help. He has also, however, reinforced your conventional beliefs that muscles and joints must behave thus and so, that so much time must pass for such processes to take place. He helped you set up a situation that served handily. For you could not leave Framework 1, nor yet really accept wholeheartedly Framework 2. In between, Frank's help was quite necessary. His assurances were important and quite valid. They helped Ruber considerably. To some extent, however, they limited improvement in that area. Ruber must now take the lead. Frank's knowledge can still be helpful, but it should not be allowed now to curtail improvements, or limit them by conventional knowledge of what muscles and joints can or cannot do, or by projecting any particular procedure, as, for example, Ruber will do this or that before this or that. At this stage, I do not want Ruber to compare his physical performance with yours at all. That would be detrimental. In the physical flexibility area, however, you are operating in Framework 2 yourself, and so you can be of great help by catching Ruber when he projects negatively on the one hand, and on the other, by leading him toward the more creative habits of thought that are your own about your body. You can also help by trying to utilize your natural feelings about flexibility on Ruber's behalf. This must be done, however, in Framework 2. In other words, in quiet moments when you recognize when you are dealing at another level, so that you feel no contradiction with Ruber's Framework 1 behavior. Such thoughts will be received by Ruber in Framework 2, and will then, with his present intent, begin to alter Framework 1 through direct action. Such methods will work now because of the changes in beliefs he has made. That is, he is more open. In your intimate periods, to some extent at least, impediments become minimized through love and desire. This session should help him, so that he can begin to mentally minimize impediments, and then they will be minimized. Take your break. When Rupert writes a book, the paragraphs take care of themselves. It is his way not to concentrate upon details. He does not wonder how he constructs a paragraph. In the area of his physical condition, however, he does concentrate upon details. How to get up, how to go to the bathroom, how to do thus and so, an uncharacteristic mode of behavior. So in our change of method, have him try at best he can to forget such details. The morning shower, in its way, was a breakthrough. For several years of conditioning simply disappeared, an issue I noticed you did not. He has been trying too hard to some extent in Framework 1, where the spontaneity of motion in Framework 2 will allow for the more or less spontaneous accomplishment of detailed motion in Framework 1. I want to emphasize the importance of the improvements that are taking place in Framework 1. These sessions, however, will result in an acceleration and ease if the sessions are put to use. By way of comment, and in reference to this discussion only, without taking our issues into consideration, your own parents, for example, operated largely in Framework 1 for their entire lives. In portions of our work and your own, you have sometimes operated in Framework 3. Rupert's initial idea construction experience momentarily propelled him into Framework 4, where indeed enough energy, creativity, and power was generated to change his life beneficially and open his mind to high levels of understanding and knowledge. The actual time involved in that experience was minute. In a way, underlined twice, that kind of time used represents the kind of threshold I use in my communications in sessions. If you followed Framework 1's beliefs, the sessions would never have begun. I am trying to think of an analogy. That experience of Rupert's in time terms would be like a concentrated time pill. There are pills you take that are released in timed sequences. So everything I am saying, in a manner of speaking, was made possible in that experience. In the time framework of Framework 1, the time period could not contain such accelerated mental or psychic motion, so it appears in your terms of time during our continuous session. My personality could not be defined or contained within that initial experience either. So, you see, strung out through the years, what in other terms I said or was at the time of Rupert's idea construction experience. Yet I responded to your experience of the continuing days. So often the sessions reflect current happening. In the terms of the discussion and with the terminology I am using, my level of existence is simply such that I can move through time by taking advantage of levels of activity that are too fast or slow for you to follow. They appear to me as patterns that I can put together as I wish. This does not mean that I have a free hand, or that I can impose patterns upon others. Time has a thickness, however, that you do not perceive. Probabilities are a part of time in those terms. Probabilities are valid time terminals. Rupert's accelerated state at that time led him to a threshold of experience that could be translated into Framework 1, but could not be sustained here in terms of ordinary behavior. The bridge personality was a psychological result, appearing in time, yet apart from it. Framework 2, however, is quite familiar to you, as stated, in your creative work, and most other areas of your lives. including your own physical experience of your body. The only place where this has not been applied is Rupert's physical condition. I hope that these sessions will allow you to move rather easily now into Framework 2 in that regard. I have given you important hints in that direction, and I will also see that Rupert has help in the dream state. It takes physical time to write a book, so some physical time must be followed for the normal behavior of Rupert's body. The book is being created, however, before it appears, and in an easy manner. This is what can happen as far as Rupert's body is concerned. Forget what you think the body can or cannot do. Forget the details that you think must happen before Rupert can walk properly. Follow my suggestions and know that the necessary work is being done completely outside of physical time, so that improvements can occur of a significant nature without any particular conventional expected processes that must first occur. All sessions came from outside of time in that fashion. So do Rupert's books. So did your home. So did your existence. And so can Rupert's flexibility. Again, I will see that you do have help in Framework 2 and in a dream state. End of session. Ralph said, okay, thank you. They said, and I gave you some hints as to your question. Ralph said, very good.